So we started learning about multi-threading in C++, and we learned about threads. We also started learning about mutexes and why you would need to use a mutex, for example, if you're trying to prevent a data race. And in this video, I want to dive deep into what exactly a data race is. How does it look like in the assembly code? I also want to go over how you can have a data race. Even if the assembly has been optimized with compiler optimization, how can you have a data race when there's just one line of assembly code? Let's take a look. Let's do a little summary on what is a data race. You've got a program like this where you've got a function called increment and a counter variable that's globally shared, and you run that function through two separate threads. You're going to have a data race because both of these threads are going to race and try to increment the counter at the same time, and if you don't have a lock, it's just going to have incorrect values. So I've run that program a couple times here using no compiler optimizations, and you could see here that first time it had 20,000, which is correct, but then it had 13,000 something and 10,000 and 20,000 and 13,000 and 14,000. So of course, every single time you want the answer to be 20,000, but many times you could see that there's some sort of data race and that's causing the results to be incorrect. So the question is, what is a data race? How does a simple operation such as counter ++ lead to a data race? And in order to understand that, we need to have an understanding of the assembly as well as how this assembly translates to CPU code. So let's just say you're incrementing a counter like this. What this ends up turning into is the load, add, and store instruction. So you need to be able to load the counter value from the RAM or the cache, and then you need to add 1 to that. And then of course you need to save that data back. If we run this through a compiler, that's exactly what it's going to be translated into. So inside of this counter ++ operation, it's going to take these three operations. It's moving some data into EAX, presumably that is the value of counter, which is currently set to 0. And then it's going to add 1 to EAX, and then it's going to store that value back into that counter variable. And this is exactly the point at which you can have a data race. If thread 1 is here, and it completes this and then it goes to this instruction. Before this instruction happens, suppose that thread 2 comes and it comes here as well. In both iterations, the value inside of EAX at the beginning of the loop be equal to 0. So thread 1 is going to be here and it's going to try to add 1 to 0. Thread 2 is going to have the value 0 inside of EAX. Once thread 1 is completed running on the shared data, counter is going to have the value 1. At the same time, the value inside of EAX at this line of code is actually going to be 0. Even though the counter inside of thread 1 has incremented, it has completed this operation. Inside of thread 2, the counter, it's still 0. After running the first iteration of the loop in both threads, the counter value might only equal 1, even though it should equal 2. So that's exactly what the data race is. It's this idea that two threads can be running the same instructions in parallel, and that's exactly why you would want to add a mutex.lock before and after. And if you do this, this is going to prevent the second thread from running these three instructions, and that prevention is going to be handled by the operating system. So this time around, I'm going to lock and unlock the mutex before the counter increment and after the counter increment. So I've ran that program a couple times, and as you can see, no matter how many times I run that program, we're going to get the result to be correct, which is 20,000. So every single time the data race has been prevented by adding that mutex. Now let's take a look at what that looks like in the assembly. I've uncommented the mutex code, and you can see that clearly here that the counter is here, and there is some mutex lock, and then there's a mutex unlock here. So what this tells the operating system is, hold on, don't run that thread right now. Wait until this mutex is unlocked so that thread 2 cannot access these three lines of assembly, and that's going to cause a problem because that's going to cause a data race. Once I've ran the compiler optimization, this entire function got optimized away. There is no for loop anymore. We're directly going to add 1000 into the counter variable. We're not even going to increment it like this. The compiler is smart enough to realize that we're just incrementing a value and it optimizes it all away. Now the question becomes, do we need this lock? I mean, it's just one instruction, right? Why do we need to add this mutex lock and unlock? Previously, we had 3 lines of assembly, and that kind of makes sense because obviously if one thread is going through the first line in that assembly and the second thread's all the way on the second line, then of course you can have a data race. But why would we need one if there's just one line of assembly? Well, it turns out that assembly instructions can be known as macro operations. So a macro operation can be optimized by the compiler, but this still ends up being multiple instructions on the CPU at the hardware level. And we can see this if we run this code. So the assembly, which is known as the macro operations, is one line, but at the CPU level, these are known as macro operations, that's actually 3 instructions. So if I run this same loop 10,000 times, what you're going to notice is that every single time the answer should be 200,000, but that's not the case. Every once in a while, the answer ends up being 100,000, and that's because there is a data race happening behind the scenes at the CPU level. And in this case, it's happening 4 separate times. So that's exactly why you would want to lock and unlock your data. So yeah, that's what I want to talk about in this video, which is a little bit about mutexes, what a data race is, how it looks like in the assembly, and how one line of assembly can actually take more than one CPU instruction, which is why you may have a data race even if the assembly generated is optimized. Anyway, if you made it this far, hit the like button and consider subscribing for more random C++ deep dives just like this. And if you want to sponsor the channel, just send me an email. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.